Who is the middle class under a capitalist society? Because there is a huge misunderstanding and misconception of what or who the middle class is. Because most people like to believe that your class is determined by how much money you make. So you have poor versus middle versus rich. But that's not what's important to determine your class. What's important is how you were able to obtain that money to begin with. And under capitalism, there's two major ways in which you can obtain money, either through your own labor, and that's how you build your wealth, or through owning assets, okay? And using those assets, basically renting out those assets to build the wealth for you, okay? So a working class person is somebody who makes most of their wealth through their own labor, and a capitalist, a true capitalist, is somebody who doesn't have to work at all, and they just have their assets generate passive income for them, right? And they use those assets to build their wealth for them. So what makes somebody a middle class person? A middle class person is somebody who has a little bit of capital, and they use that capital to supplement their income, but they don't have enough that they can quit their job, so they do have to provide their own labor to an extent. That is a true middle class person. And so some examples, perfect examples of middle class people would be a small-time business owner with employees, or a small-time landlord that has a few tenants, a handful of tenants, right? They have just enough capital to extract the value of some working class people, either tenants or the employees, right, to supplement the owner's income, but not enough that they can't quit their job, which their job in that case is usually managing the property or managing their business, right? And this is another misconception. Managing something and owning something are not the same thing. Usually they're intertwined, but they are not the same thing, because if you have enough passive income, you can hire somebody to manage the property for you, to manage or run the business for you, but you can still own it, right? And when you hit that point, when you hit the point where your business is so big, or you own enough properties that you don't even have to manage anymore, and you can just outsource that and hire somebody to do all the work for you, and you just receive the money for owning the business or the property, you've become a true capitalist, okay? And if you haven't hit that point and you still need to provide some sort of labor, right, you are a true middle class person. And if you don't use any capital at all, you don't rent out any capital, and you really just make the majority, if not all, of your wealth through your own personal labor, you're a working class person. And I just want to add at the end here that if you are a middle class person or a working class person who is striving to become a capital owning class person, I don't blame you for wanting to do that. And I don't think that you're a bad person for wanting to do that, because under capitalism, that's the class that receives all the benefits of capitalism, right? That's who capitalism works for. It works for that class of owners. You get easy street once you've hit that point. So I don't blame working class people for wanting to do that. And on the flip side, who capitalism doesn't work for, and you get the short end of the stick, is for the working class. You have to put so much work and effort in your majority of your life to receive basically peanuts, right? And so I don't blame people for getting that short end of the stick their whole life and wanting to go and switch to the other side. But that doesn't change the fact that when you do switch sides, all you have done is you have gone from the exploited class to the exploiter class. Okay. And some people get angry when I talk about these things in my videos because they don't want to see themselves as that exploiter. They just want to see themselves as, I worked hard my whole life, it's now my turn. And so again, I don't blame you for wanting to do that. Okay. But that does not change the fact that if you switch classes from working class to capital owning class, you are succeeding by taking the value of others' labor.